when we look at what's driving a lot of this type of legislation, building bylaws, building code legislation in Canada, it really comes down to climate change, and it comes down to commitments all levels of government in Canada have made to the Paris Climate Accord. Everyone hears about that. Usually it's the yearly report reminding us that we're nowhere near meeting our goals. But the often untold story is that federal government, provincial governments are all worried that if Canada doesn't do a better job of meeting its standards, that our exports will be taxed at a high rate, that the world is on the edge of a significant trade war that will be fueled by carbon, and countries that aren't doing their job or their fair share to reduce their carbon footprint, to reduce their GHG emissions, will have their exports taxed. Canada's an exporting nation. We rely on exports. And we can't have that. We'll be swept up. The war will be between the EU, United States, and China. Canada will get swept up in that, and it will get crushed. And that is detrimental to our economy, let alone our climate. But over the last couple of years, there's been more and more concern as we see wildfires leveling communities in BC and Alberta. We see floods forcing First Nation communities to evacuate. We see multi-billion-dollar flood episodes in downtown Toronto each and every year. We begin to realize that more and more homes are uninsurable for overland flooding or for external wildfire coverage, that insurers have just stopped covering that because the losses are so great. We also learn more and more about the detrimental health effects of climate change. You know, the federal government in May of 2023 released a report about microparticles that are released through burning fossil fuels, diesel, especially natural gas, but more and more through wildfires. And you know, their submission was that there are between 13 and 15,000 Canadians who die prematurely each and every year because of these nanoparticles that are so small they can get through your lungs, into your bloodstream, even into your brain, and cause all sorts of damage. If you live in a passive house building, or work in a passive house building, or go to school in a passive house building, you get to live in or work in an environment where the air is very pure because it's filtered, usually with HEPA, minimum HEPA standard filters. And you know, people are starting to pay more and more attention to this. They're worried about their health. They're seeing the effects of climate change. They're feeling them. And that's where Passive House Canada comes in. And we constantly say, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to even invent a new wheel. Passive House has been building this way since the 1970s. It has deep roots in Canada. And I'm proud to say that it has deep roots in Canada. And, you know, we have the technical answers to your political questions. So I've gone off topic a little bit. You know, we started off with government, but it really is about making sure that we're meeting our commitments to international commitments, that the provinces are meeting their federal commitments, and that municipalities are addressing their concerns about climate change in the trenches, so to speak.